Hello, everyone. My name is Graham Pate. I'm a lead educational developer at the Center for Teaching and Learning. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's very exciting to see that we had 115 people sign up for this. So there's clearly a big interest in this particular topic today. I'm very pleased and very honored to introduce my colleague for the day who's going to be helping me during the webinar, who has actually going to do most of the work. And his name is Dave Laurie from eClass. I'll let him introduce himself in just a moment. And I'm just going to take a back seat. I'm going to be the Vanna White to Dave's Pat Sajak today. So without any further ado, I will pass it over to Dave.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. That's what we're talking about today. It is the new enterprise video platform for the U of A. It went through an RFP this summer and was the winner of that RFP. We are pretty excited about it. Internally in our team, we've been advocating for some sort of centralized video streaming and storage repository for a while. Those of you who've been around for a fair length of time, like I have, we had one in the early 2010s, and it wasn't able to stick with us. And we've had a lot of different faculties and departments doing other things over the years, some only for use in education, medicine, dentistry, those sorts of things. And we haven't had any tools, central tools that were supported for actually editing video. So that is a lack that we've been feeling for a while. So we're pretty excited that UJET is arriving. It arrived just prior to the start of this fall term, so we weren't able to sort of do all the comms and the setup that we needed to sort of roll it out. We've had it as a soft launch this term, so some people have been in and playing around, and that's been allowing us to learn what we needed to learn about how to set it up, what the best practices are, and all those sorts of things. That's a little bit about what it is. I'm going to just go through a list of its features, sort of tell you what it can do, and then at the end I'll talk about why we should use it. I can do a little bit of demoing if we want, if we get there and we still have time. So that's our slough time. So what it can do basically is you can upload existing videos and you can record webcams, screen, audio, all those things via a desktop application. The videos are automatically captioned, or you can upload existing caption files. And you can also, when uploading files, you can upload sort of a set of companion files that go along with the video, a PDF version, if it's a PowerPoint slides, if it's a lecture, that sort of stuff. So we have it integrated within eClass right now. That's currently the only way to use it. It's an external tool that you add sort of through the activity chooser. We will be provisioning an SSO, some sort of authentication, so that we can control who gets access to videos, even if they're sort of shared outside of eClass. So that's something that's in the works. The tool allows sort of a course stream to be set up, and you can set up subfolders of videos on your course channel that can sort of map to the various lecture topics in your course. And when you've set it up that way through eClass, the course channel, as long as you make the link available to students, that they can access directly on UJET, in addition to sort of any specific videos that you embed into your course. Both those pathways are possible. On the UJET side, students then see a number of sort of different and expanded features that sort of relate to the videos. The other great pieces are that you can edit these videos. So you can sort of do overlays on videos. If you've recorded a lecture and you really wanted to get a point across and you missed, you can come back later and put a text call out on top of it that then sits on top of video for when the students view it. And you can add quiz questions into videos. Those quiz questions, I haven't played with that too much, but the idea is that, answering questions can then spit grades back into eClass, into the gradebook. The last great feature is that there's a dedicated mobile app. Once we get the SSO in place, students will have an easy time viewing videos on mobile. So that's a good set of features, why you should use Yuja. From our perspective, it's great that it's a centrally supported tool instead of having it be a set of unsupported applications or tools or processes that are only available to some users. We also do get user-facing vendor support out of Yuja as a part of their receipt of the RFP, their winning of the RFP. Second reason is this wide range of features. It can do a lot more than sort of the hodgepodge of other services that we've had on campus. We've been steering people into putting videos in Google Drive and YouTube for a while now. With Google Drive, they never played very well on mobile, so we're getting around a lot of the sort of shortcomings that not having the service to provide. And the last reason is sort of process-based. In the summer of 2022, Google is going to be changing their enterprise storage limits for Google Drive files, basically. So until now, we've had basically no limits placed on what we can put into Google Drive. That's changing in 2022. There have been some communications about this yet. I don't know too many of the details. I don't think Google knows too many of the details yet. They're working with other teams in IST to sort of provide the comms, the processes, all that sort of stuff well in advance. So it's July 2022 that's changing. This is a good opportunity if you're maybe teaching in winter term to start that process of getting video out of Google Drive beforehand. So that's my talk. I think we've got plenty of time for a little demo. I'm going to do that.
By the way, I just got a response. It has been tested in China, and yes, it does work. Another quick question that came in by a direct message was, is YouTube putting limits as well on how much can be uploaded? I think the answer is no. I don't think there's going to be a limit on YouTube.
YouTube things that you put into YouTube are not considered part of the U of A educational domain, so they don't count towards that educational storage gap.
Although we would maybe suggest you may find moving from YouTube videos, putting them onto Yuja will give you more flexibility. You can edit, you can add the extra captions, you can add quizzes. And if that's something that interests you, there is a video which will be coming out relatively soon from CTL, which will explain how you can do that.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm pretty sure that's one of the topics that Yuja is going to cover in that session on November 17th, I think it is.
Right.
I can dig up the link to that too, and we'll pass it around just to everybody who's here.
Some of the questions that came in, can you edit the auto captioning for languages other than English? Yes, you can add your own captions in other languages. If the auto caption will do it in the language, the original language. So if you're speaking French and you're making a French video, you can set up the auto captioning to do the captioning in French. And if you want to create a separate auto caption for another language, then you have to do it manually. But yes, you can do that. I've done it myself. So it's actually quite a simple process to edit the auto captions. So it's quite helpful. Another quick question that came in: can one use the full array of eClass quiz features in the Yuja quizzes? I believe the answer is no. Yuja has its own set of quizzes within the video. So you can play the video and it pauses at a certain point when you want. Then you can ask a question, like a multiple choice question or a reflection question, and you can link that to the gradebook.
Correct. Yeah. The questions are constructed in Yuja's editor. They can't be pulled from eClass.
Yes, you can export videos.
I'll just sort of do along, and if you want to fire more questions my way, Graham, feel free.
That's great. Thanks.
It's here inside the activity chooser. They're all. I've already got this link added. Just in terms of the settings, there are two ways you can add Yuja. You pick it when you pick that external tool. If you're going for something where you want the students to go across to Yuja and view video there, you can call it something like Course Media Gallery, and your common module settings will be like this. You can hide this if you want to do just the editing yourself over there, like you can hide the tool link, then they won't see the top level thing. Then you'll definitely have to embed a video. If it's going to be a top level link, you just don't click select content. So that is my top level link. back to this section here in the course. In these other UJA tools, you'll see that it's actually, I've selected content. So those are going to be links to specific videos. So any of these ones that are embedded tests, they're going to just show the video on the fly. Students do the same thing. When you go across to the course channel, you can upload videos here. This is my channel. This one doesn't have any subfolders. I could add, once I'm in the editing mode, I can add subchannels, dump videos into subfolders. Students see all that. Viewing a video, they get sort of related video transcripts that they can download. In the player, they also get, turn down the volume here. This sidebar gives them any of the linked files, and they can download transcripts here. Yeah, so you can download them all in the sidebar. A couple other things in the player, they can increase the speed. Yeah, so they can do that. You know, if they're going back for a review, they can increase the pace of viewing. And I think comments are available. That might just be a new feature, possibly.
A couple of questions have come in. I think I've, can you upload videos that includes like a voiceover PowerPoint? If you save the PowerPoint as a video, then yes, you can. So in PowerPoint, you just go export as a video, then you can throw it into UJA. Just very quickly, some questions I can answer. Alex, can you remove the options for students to download the videos? Yes, you can. Would this be available in smart classrooms for lecture capture capacity, Stephen has asked, and the answer, I believe, is yes.
Yeah, that's something I should have mentioned too. Yeah. You can enable it on specific devices and device profiles. That's something where we've enabled the Learning Spaces support team to have access in the back end to trigger it. It can even be scheduled. That was one of the sort of driving needs for FOMD. So those features exist as well. Because that's out of my area, I'm more interested in how it works through eClass.
So if you are an individual who's maybe doing hybrid teaching right now, maybe you're teaching face-to-face and you're doing online at the same time, you can do your lecture and you can set it up to record as you're doing a lecture, and it just will do it all. It'll also do your, it'll capture your iPad, it'll capture the screening. What are those things called? The kind of, I would call them overhead projectors, but that just shows my age. But that kind of, you know, screening technology, it's all there too.
Smart boards and document cameras.
Thank you. Document cameras. That's the word. I just completely aged myself with that particular comment.
You didn't call them acetates.
Yes, that's right. One question, how is UJA different from YouTube in terms of hosting videos?
It's a separate service entirely from YouTube. Conceptually, they're no different. It's a cloud-based service. It's designed for playing and streaming media, you know, whereas, you know, eClass, Google Drive are not.
A really interesting question from Roberta. If videos were rendered previously in Camtasia, for example, including quizzes within the MP4 file, will those transfer to UJA or would the quizzes have to be redone? I believe the quizzes would have to be redone because the quiz would link then directly to Gradebook. So it gives you, so there's a pro and con there. You'd have to redo the quiz, but then it would be a bit more automated at the end of that. Yeah.
That's correct.
There is no, do Podium computers have the UJA software on them? Can I record a lecture in classrooms today? Dave, I know that the UJA software is going to be on them at some point. I'm not sure if today is the right answer though.
Yeah, I don't think today. If you asked for it, it could be there in 3 days. You could also, if you wanted to do it today, you could put it in your course, go to eClass or go to your course in the class, and that can trigger the download of the application. I think in the context of that one session, you'd be able to install it, but I could be wrong. I haven't been in a classroom in a long time. You folks would be way more savvy than me.
That's a good point, and I've written that down to as a thing to just maybe kind of investigate too in classroom. The other question that came up, which is really interesting, which would students prefer? Good question, Mike. Thank you. A link to UJA where all the lectures are found, all the videos, or individual links to each lecture. And that's really down to you. I can see that from a pedagogical point of view, there could be a a benefit to, I mean, if you're going through eClass, watch this video, then read this paper, then do this, then watch this video, and you want them to do it bit by bit to make sure that there is some chronological order in what they're doing, I could see you wanting to do an individual link, which is very simple to do. But depending on your course and how you're setting it up, you might find it just as easy or less work just to say, look, here's a link to the folder and all the videos are in there. And then you just make sure that they know what they're supposed to watch at a certain time. So it really is up to you.
And there's no real reason why you couldn't do both either. If it works for you, students, here is the entire list of course videos organized on UJA how I want them. In addition, links to those same videos will appear interspersed through the course content where they make the most sense.
Yeah. What happens if you change the video software? Would we have to re-upload all lectures and questions? How long do you plan to use UJA?
I hope forever. It's been a long time without something like this, and the people who piloted the various tools in FOMD and education have gone through a couple migrations. I hope we don't change, but I guess I can't guarantee that.
And I should point out, if you already have a link on eClass to a video on, say, YouTube or on Google Drive, then you don't necessarily have to do everything from scratch. You already have that video somewhere on Google Drive or on YouTube. So all you need to do is download that video onto your computer and then fire it up back into UJA again. It's not super time consuming. I've done it myself. I was helping some courses already at Campus Saint-Jean and other places. So I've done it myself. It doesn't take that long. And there are support videos that are being created by CTL and by IST to help you through that process if you get stuck. But of course, you can always then ask for specific support if you need it, either from the knowledge base on the IST website, from the IST itself. If it's a pedagogy issue, you can come to CTL as well. And of course, UJA has their support systems as well. So there's a lot of places you can go to get support, so you don't feel that you're having to start from scratch or that you're feeling overwhelmed. And we should point out that this is not a requirement. I mean, we're not saying everyone has to do this. We are suggesting it partly because there is more you can do with it, adding quizzes, being able to edit it directly. It's just all kind of one package, but also because we know that Google Drive is going to start limiting our space. So if you've got lots and lots of videos on there, you might find that there's a problem in the future. So we're trying to get on top of that. If you have created videos and you've used H5P, then you may think this is not worth my while. I've already got them on YouTube, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Having done it myself, I mean, I've been using UJA for a little bit now, a month or so. I've been working with some courses to get all their information over to the new system. I've gone into the editing. I've changed the captioning. I've added extra languages to captions. I've added quizzes to videos, and I found it very easy to use. It's like anything else when it's new, you have to figure it out. But I did not find it a very big learning curve, and it was very, very self-explanatory. I also found that the support, not only from eClass, the eClass team, but also the toll-free number that they have for UJA, were incredibly helpful. There was one particular day where, and I won't explain why, but at 3 a.m, I was still awake doing work, which I know is very disturbing. And I called them because I thought I'm stuck with something. And they were right there answering the phone and helping me. I was very impressed. So for those of you who are concerned about, oh my goodness, we have to move to something new, I understand that, and we're here to help. So please don't feel anxious about this. It's not something that is a requirement, but knowing what we know that's happening regarding Google Drive in the future, we're glad that we have something in place now so that we can limit that particular panic when it comes in a year or whenever. Well, thank you for your time, everyone. And if you could just use your applause button that you have, or the thumbs up or something, just to say thanks to Dave for his time with us today. I really appreciate your time, Dave, and your help with this. Fantastic.